Hello, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of time to log on. It's Friday the 13th. What? Alright guys, good morning. Good morning. Just gonna wait like another minute and then we'll get started right now. Hello, hello. Today we're gonna talk about, what's my topic today? What are we talking about? Hello, Johnny. Here's Johnny. Alright, so hello guys, good morning. Thank you for logging in. Today we're going to talk about what it is to be going through the whole healing process, and then on top of that, dealing with the daily triggers, right? Because obviously you're still going to be triggered. Oh no. Spilling nonsense here. My name's Rocio. If this is your first time here, my name is Rocio. And I talk about generational trauma, emotional abuse, border personality disorder, neurodivergency, and what it actually looks like. Trigger warning. I'm gonna try to post it here, but trigger warning, guys. If we're gonna talk about emotional abuse, nervous system reactions, feelings, broken people. You're free to leave or mute me or come back later. You don't have to. I mean, I appreciate pretty much the support, but we are going to talk about touchy subjects, I guess. And today we're going to talk about how we're busting a myth today, guys. I love it. Today we are going to discuss how healing doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stop being triggered, right? It means you stop abandoning yourself more than anything, and you stop portraying this person that you're not, right? Oh shit, sorry, I'm always very unprepared. If this is your first time seeing me, let it be known I'm always unprepared. That's what makes me different. It's my ADHD, guys, I promise. Thank you for joining. If you guys are just logging in, go ahead and like, follow, share. Send me a message if you guys end up wanting to know more about all the nonsense that I talk about, which is not nonsense. It's just that I try to share my personal experiences so that you guys can see that we're all going through it, you know? And if there's a person that happened to find this at the right time, that means that my purpose is done for today, right? I accomplished something great today. So we're gonna bust the myth that healing doesn't necessarily mean that you stop being triggered. It just means that you're showing up for yourself, okay? Yesterday I mentioned Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee, I'm sure everybody knows who Bruce Lee is. Hello, Dina, Enlightened, Alice, Barbara, Jade, thank you for watching. Bruce Lee is a martial artist who's a philosopher who taught self-mastery through learning from every mistake. He didn't become a master by never making mistakes. He actually became one by learning from every single mistake. And that's what we're doing here. That's pretty much what we're doing here with our nervous system. So if you ever thought that you should be over by this, you should be over this by now, then you're probably here in the right place. Hello. Go ahead and like, follow, share. Hello, Carter. What are triggers and why they're not a moral failure, right? A trigger, we're going to talk about what triggers actually are. Trigger is your nervous system reacting to something in the present that reminds us of like danger in the past, right? Especially when you're survived emotional abuse, neglect, or thank you, Linda, that's my wife, my biggest fan. Neglect, chronic stress, and research shows that childhood abuse and neglect change areas of the brain that involves a stress response, right? Emotional regulation threatens a threat detection, right? And parts of the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex that it also affects. So your body pretty much is on fight or flight. It must react fast before your logic brain or the logic in your brain catches up, right? And it might look like a sudden panic attack when somebody raises their voice. You get nervous when you hear somebody raise their voice, or shutting down when someone is disappointed in you, that you can't even like get yourself to move, right? Or feeling sick or shaky when you try to set a boundary. Like it's something that's too powerful for you to confront, that the moment that you say it, you just freeze, right? So ask yourself, do you go more into fight, flight, or freeze? What is the one thing what is the one thing that happens when you're triggered? Like, do you freeze? Do you overreact? Do you cry? There's people that cry when they're angry. I know I cried when I was angry. Not anymore. Or I stutter when I try to make my point. So I learned to shut up. Yes, Johnny, it is what you mentioned about Bruce Lee. Viktor Frankl, he was a Holocaust survivor and a psychiatrist who taught that meaning comes from choosing our responses when even like in situations where we're suffering, right? He talked about that space between the stimulus and response, that space where we have freedom and power, and where trauma tries to shrink that space into nothing, right? So our work is to open that space back up and to let it breathe, right? We need to normalize that none of these make you a bad person or make you any less or make you like a quitter. It's just a survival strategy that your brain wired in order or under pressure, right? And it's something that comes back from like times before you even met the people that are in front of you, right? And how does this is a taboo subject, right? Especially in the Hispanic culture, we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about emotional abuse or border personality disorder or sensitivity or emotions. I think that it's beautiful when I see a Hispanic family that is very supportive of each other. I love seeing that, honestly, because it's something that I wish I had, right? And that I'm still trying to proclaim. And I'm not going to give up. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But at least I know I tried. I did my part, right? So, especially for those with borderline personality disorder or traits, we get labeled, right? We're too much. We're too manipulative. We're toxic. We're crazy. When a lot of things are happening us, your nervous system pretty much becomes or is shaped with that chronic emotional abuse and abandonment. So studies actually show that emotional abuse is linked to a higher level of depression, of anxiety, chronic stress, intense negative emotions, and mixed with like borderline personality traits, like fear of abandonment, unstable relationships, or mood swings. Think about it. Like, do you do any of those things? And if you do, like, what is it that triggers that, or what causes that response? Like, have you suffered from any type of a mental, like any type of depression? And there's no shame in that. I mean, like I said, I suffer from acute anxiety, depression. I have everything in the book. My wife and I are like a bag of surprises, man. So when someone ghosts you, for example, or when someone criticizes you or pulls away, or let's say when somebody just doesn't want to see you anymore for whatever reason that they may have, your body's going to scream. It's going to scream like, I'm going to be abandoned again, right? It becomes in like protective mode. And all of a sudden you're that little kid again. Ask yourself, like, does your brain go straight to they hate me? Or do you start to blame yourself because you feel like you ruined it all? You did something to ruin it. And in reality, you're not broken. You're not sensitive. You're just in tune with what the world taught you to walk on, which was eggshells. Audre Lorde, is a black lesbian feminist who is a poet and an activist. She taught self-care and self-preservation. She said, caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it's self-preservation, and that is an act of political welfare. That includes caring for the parts of you, or the part of you that still reacts like you're in danger, because for a long time you were. So it's weird whenever we start to feel safe, right? That we have to test the waters and try to sabotage our own life because it's too good to be true. And how can this be happening to you? That totally rhymed. So it happens a lot with me. And in my cases, I've had it with relationships. I've had it mainly with my family. I think that's the one that hurts the most, like the relationship with my mom. Because at one point I was very close to my mom. I could go sit on her lap, and I was always a little kid, and I didn't mind being that little kid. But as I grew older and I started to have my own voice, it became a conflict. It became like I was the problem. I was always living in the past, right? And in reality, I wasn't. I was just setting a boundary. Like, you know what, Mom, we have to talk about these things because these things did happen. And even though we may think that they don't happen in our family, they did. And we need to talk about them because we need to be okay so that we know how to detect it in the future, right? But sometimes it's better to just ignore it than to face it, right? Because we can't deal with the confrontation. And unfortunately, I mean, it's not even that person's fault. You can't be mad at that person. You have to realize that just like you, they were in an unstable environment at one point too. And they're trying to figure it out just like you are. And just like you had a hard time to acknowledge your faults, they are also going to have a hard time to acknowledge not only that they failed themselves, but that there was a whole life in charge of them, that they were in charge of. And they also hurt. So you can't be mad at your parents. I was angry for a long time, and it doesn't do you any good. It only gets heavier and heavier each day. It's not going to get any lighter, let me tell you. How I realized that healing is not being triggered. It's just how fast and how gentle you can become yourself again. How you can address it without losing yourself and that person that you were. Because when somebody told me I did something wrong, and I still react, I still have those moments of like defensive moments, like, well, what are you doing, you know? Or, yeah, but you did this. Isn't that like the first response when somebody tells us that we failed at something or that we didn't notice something was going on? And then we're, yeah, but you didn't do it too. Does that solve anything? Does it make things any better? And have you tried a different approach? Is the world going to end if you say you're sorry? No. You're probably going to make things easier for yourself. Maya Angelou, civil rights activist, she's a poet. I'm sure everybody knows. I like to mention these quotes because honestly, when you become a better version of yourself, the version that you're meant to be, you start to realize or start to see a different meaning in things like these. And you're like, oh shit, it makes sense now. She would say, do the best you can until you know better. Then you know better. Then when you know better, do better. You guys help me reach my goal. I'd like a little ice cream cone. Hey, I've been writing today all day. Like, it's cool. She mentioned that she used to think that healing meant to never react again, but she figured that healing meant to catch herself sooner and to kindle herself into, like, in the process of reacting. You react, but you don't let it get to you that hard, right? You repair a lot faster. You come up a little bit faster. So let's make it practical, right? Hello, Judy. Guys, I'm gonna give you a little bit of tools that I used and that worked for me. And I'm gonna pin here. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys wanna get a little bit deeper into a session, you can go ahead and fill out the short form. We can stay in touch. I mean, I'm offering 90-minute calls with, it could be either a Zoom call, we can do weekly meetings, and see what's going on with your situation, see what we can work out of it, what we can solve from it, right? Because you know what, we're all going through it. And I know for a fact that at one point I wished I could have had somebody that I talked to that didn't tell me what I was doing wrong, that just listened and that acknowledged that, yeah, my pain was valid, but was also able to tell me the truth. Because there's many times that the people around us tell us what we want to hear, which is nice, I love it. But sometimes we need that truth from somebody different, or sometimes you just need to listen to yourself say things out loud and see how they sound once you speak them out loud, how sometimes they're not as horrible as they sound in your head, right? So let's make this practical. Here's 3 things that you can use or start using to kind of ease it up a little bit. The first thing you do, hey Q, the first thing you do is you name it. Whenever you feel like you're gonna lose patience, instead of overreacting, try, I'm triggered, my body thinks I'm in danger, and it's okay. Like, I'm not in danger. This is just something that is trying to pull me back to my old ways, right? When you start to name your feelings, it actually reduces the emotional intensity by engaging the thinking parts of your brain. Take 30 seconds for your body to rest. Put your feet flat on the floor. Literally, put your feet flat on the floor. Press your hands together. And you're going to take 3 slow exhales. Longer out than in, okay? Look for 5 things in the room that are not dangerous and focus on those 5 things. Bruce Lee said, be water. When you're triggered, your body is like boiling water. These practices help you cool back down to a flow state. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to say things that are going to make you look like an idiot, or they're going to give them something to talk about, right? That are just going to validate their assumptions if they think you're crazy, and then you go unhinged trying to make your point. Nobody can hear you when you're yelling. When you speak clearly and you say the things that you really mean with the clear mind, you're able to get your point across a lot better. Post-trigger repairs. After you calm a bit, you need to ask yourself, what did I need in that moment? What can I give myself, or how can I give myself a little piece of that right now? Because remember, we're all adults, we're all kids in these adult costumes, okay? So that little kid inside of you was trying to come out the moment you were triggered. So they were trying to have this child, you went back into that 5-7-year-old kid that felt unprotected at one point. So you were going to react like that kid, that tantrum. You're about to throw your tantrum, right? So what did that little kid need? Viktor Frankl, his whole philosophy was literally about finding the meaning and choice in every suffering. That's what helped me. What did I learn from this experience? Because I didn't just suffer for nothing. Like, you don't touch something that's hot and didn't learn that it was hot, right? You took a lesson from that. So what did you learn from this downfall? And by you acknowledging that lesson that you learned, or that by you taking a lesson from it, you're reclaiming a little tiny piece of yourself after that trigger phase. So ask yourself, which tool feels a little bit more realistic to do? To ground yourself, to name it, and recognize that it's there? Think about it. What's one of your guys' triggers? Is it your mom ignoring your messages? I hate it when my mom doesn't answer her phone calls. Like, girl, you're stuck to your phone all day long. Like, how are you not going to hear me, mother? Where have you been? Where did you go that you didn't tell me? Because, you know, she'd be going out like she's a grown-up and shit. If you think about it, your parents are like children. They're little kids. They're little kids that didn't get the attention. And here you are, this person that is becoming this aware cycle breaker. So you start treating them like you wanted to be treated at one point, right? Like you're nurturing that little kid inside. And you don't even realize it, but you're going to be healing them too. What nervous system, what parts of your body, or what are something that or what is the thing that you feel would have helped in that moment? Is it like, think when you start to really point down and pinpoint that situation, you need to name that pattern. Is it the emotional neglect? Is it the gaslighting? Gaslighting is a big one. When you try to say your point and then all of a sudden you're the bad person because you try to set a boundary, or when you try to say your point and then, well, it's because you just don't want to change, or you're a narcissist. I heard that one this week. My friend Q was telling me, he's like, oh, a narcissist can't name a narcissist, right? Or something like that. That word does not exist in their vocabulary, or it means something completely different, but definitely not what they are. Think about it. When that situation is happening, when, let's say, your messages are being ignored, when you're being emotionally neglected, your body and your nervous system starts to recognize all that. Of course you're going to feel panicked. When you start to feel a situation at that moment, you need to put your hand on your chest and start to take a deep breath and to start to tell yourself, I'm not the abandoned child anymore. I have abandonment issues big time. It made me very possessive at one point. In the long term, you know, you'll learn what works, or what kind of communication works when you're communicating with these important people in your life, right? Bell Hooks, for example, she was a Black feminist scholar as well. She taught that love is revolutionary practice. She said that we must learn to love ourselves. This is very important because this is like the whole meaning of your self-development. What's the point of putting a band-aid on a dirty wound, right? She said that we must learn to love ourselves before we can truly love others. Think about it. Doesn't mean fix yourself to deserve love. It means stop abandoning yourself when you're triggered. The trigger is showing you where your boundaries need to be. So when you feel that knot in your stomach, start to identify it. Maybe it's excitement. Maybe that's you being uncomfortable in a certain space, you know? It's horrible to be in that space of not knowing what to do, of thinking like, fuck, everybody and their mama is fucking living the life and I'm over here being miserable as fuck. Dreaming about all the things I could be doing and that I haven't done. And I'm just rotting away here in bed. I have a dip on my bed from where I sit all day long, or where I sat all day long, because I don't anymore. And every day I kept showing up, and you know what? Yesterday, something super meaningful happened. I was able to help somebody at some point, you know? And in all honesty, that's all I wanted for the day. That's all I had journaled about yesterday that I wanted. That if I could just reach one person and change one person, then I had done my duty for the day. My goals for the day were met because I did everything that I had set myself to do in order to wake a little bit of hope, or to be that voice that somebody needed to be, or needed to hear at that moment. Because I know for many years I got that message that I really needed at the right time, and the least that I can do is to give that back. Because there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything that we live, every people or every person you meet, is like a beautiful dance of time, right? Some of those people are meant to stay, some of them are meant to leave a little bit of scars so that you can toughen up your skin, right? But everything happens for a reason. And when you hear that you're in charge of your choices and how you react, you first need to understand that we all carry something that we don't talk about. And that when people come up to you, they're not coming up to you because you failed personally. It's because they are disappointed in themselves for abandoning that child. When you start to nurture that child, it just flows naturally with everybody else, because you start to see yourself in different people. You start to see different pieces of yourself in other people, and it's so easy to understand this person is mad because they're going through it right now. Or it's easy to see because you've been there before, right? You've walked that path, and you're like, fuck, I was like that when I was in a bad relationship, or I was like that when I fucking hated my job. So when you find that purpose, you know how to be present for your friends, for your family, when they need it the most. You're able to sit with someone in silence and not need to feel it at all. And there's nothing like that reward of knowing that maybe a small little action completely shifted a person's timeline. Because you know what? I said it last night, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to say it every single day. You pick these battles. And if you couldn't overcome them, then who else but Quagmire? You had to be the one that overcame them. You had to be the one that faced these challenges. Why? Because you're the strong one. Whether you're the emotional punching bag, whether you're neglected all the time, you pick up everybody else's emotions. You pick up everybody else's anxiety. And you need to understand that anxiety is not yours. That's just you trying to fix everybody's discomfort. And that's not your job. Your job is for you to take care of that little kid inside, because that's your assignment. And when you take care of yourself, everything else just flows. Because, you know what? That little kid that felt abandoned at a certain age is never going to come back. Nobody else in the world is ever going to see them. It lives inside of you. And you get to talk to that little kid every single day. So just like it's so easy to bring yourself down and say, oh, I'm a fucking loser for doing this. Why don't you shift it? What is there to lose when you say, damn, I got that done pretty quick? Or shit, I didn't fucking finish my whole day's work, but you know what? I got ahead. Isn't that awesome? Like, I started trying it, and it's fucking awesome. It's awesome whenever you start telling yourself the things that you wished you heard from somebody else. And then you start to see how people really work, how people really walk, how people are presenting themselves towards you. Because sometimes it's not going to be pretty. Sometimes it's going to suck. And it's going to be lonely as fuck. But that's why I'm here. Don't fear, your friendly queer is here. And I know that I needed to relate, to find something relatable. And not just everything that I wish I had, right? So that's why I'm here telling you about my personal life. Because everything's gonna be okay. If I was a very negative and stubborn person, and I'm here finally feeling comfortable to be on camera and to tell you, hey, we all get it, or we're all fucked, or we're all a little crazy, then what's stopping you? If you've already felt like you're the worst, what's the worst that can happen? That you're gonna feel worse? The way I see it is, why do I give them the benefit of being right? I'm gonna do everything in my power to prove them wrong. And you know what the beauty in that is? That you're not hurting anyone along the way. I can see where hate can take over and you just want everybody to suffer with you. But you have a choice. You have a choice of doing something that takes care of that inner child. And not only takes care of that inner child, but that allows you to be present in your daily life and allows you to use your powers of being sensitive to certain things to help others who are in that situation. Because everybody around us, every person that we meet is always going to be a different version of us, whether they're ahead in life or whether they're not. But the things that you learn are because those are part of your purpose to help others. Think about it. We're over here waiting for one person to come and save us. Wouldn't it be beautiful if we just help them out a little bit by starting at home, by starting with ourselves, simply with ourselves? I'm not even asking you to go do something nice for somebody. No, I'm asking you to do something nice for yourself. Just one thing in all the million things that you have going on in the day. Just one little thing. And how do you feel after you do those things? And when you do those things, you're going to notice one sensation in your body. And it's going to be this one tension, tingling feeling. You're going to be present in the moment. Think about it. You survived everything that was supposed to break you. You made it to 2026, bro. Or homegirl. You're living in the future right now, where everybody thought we were going to have flying cars, which are not that far off. So if you really want to be present for yourself, because this year is going to be the year that if you've been struggling, you're going to have every opportunity, and every day is going to be an opportunity. Every single day you're going to have half open doors ready for you. But you need to get out of that mentality of thinking that you don't deserve those things because you won't see them. I offer one-on-one sessions where we map your triggers, where we name your patterns. We build a simple 30 to 90 day plan. I'm also building a small space for cycle breakers who want to find a community while doing the work, somebody that's going to hold you accountable, somebody that's going to motivate you to keep going further. Nobody's going to walk your path. Nobody can pick your battles either. Nobody's life is going to be just like yours. Everybody has different, same pains, but in different situations. So I want to be able to blend the science with the devotion of the things that align with me. Like I also I also believe a lot in Hecate and Santa Muerte and Maria Magdalena. I use Bruce Lee and I use these other more known figures because you know what, maybe that side of spirituality doesn't appeal you yet, or you haven't been able to see it yet, but you're gonna see it because they all mark some sort of pivotal change in your life, like a pivotal moment in your life where Hecate, she's the one that guides, or she walks with the broken, the abused. She walks with with those who can name the patterns, you know? The ones that are done with the fucking nonsense. Because if you think that you are meant for so much more, you are. But you first have to believe in yourself. So she's the one that allows you to see all these paths that you have, but you only focused on certain 3, right? She's there to show you that you got this fucking far, man. Santa Muerte, I used to think she was about like the narcos and shit, like drug dealer type of saint. But no, she's a mother of truth. She's a mother of death. And what happens when you know the truth? An old version of you dies, right? And she's the one that shows you that ugly truth that you've been trying to run from and trying to avoid, so that you can allow new things to grow. Because until you let go of that guilt or of that ugliness, you're not gonna make any progress. No motivational journal, no self-help books are gonna help you if you don't do the work yourself. Because we can point fingers, but you got like 4 more that are pointing at you. And you have to understand that it's nobody's fault. That we made our choices. We picked our battles. We're in the situation we're in because we knew in our gut that it wasn't right, but we didn't do shit about it. We followed along instead of speaking up. So now you gotta suffer the consequences. But you know what? The beauty of it is that you can get up, dust yourself off, and try again. You only have one life. If you already feel like you're a failure, then what's the worst that can happen? People are gonna say no? Or you failed again? At least you're not wondering what could have been. Right? So if you want me to work with me, go ahead and DM MAP or DM group if you're interested in the group community. You don't have to be perfect to deserve support. Okay, guys? You bring your story, you bring whatever pains you're carrying. I'll hold the space for you. If you guys want to join me in a live, if you guys want to just chit chat, I got you, boo boo. You don't got to do this alone. And if somebody told you that you're doing it wrong, no. You know in your gut that you're doing it right, so you let them believe whatever they want. Okay? There's no pressure. If you feel comfortable, I'm here for you. If you feel like there's a little bit more that I can't help you with, then don't steer away from the normal type of help, right? Or the general way that we search for help. Because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. All I can do is to talk to you about my experiences, and I can listen to you. Because we feel like people don't understand, but I'm never gonna judge you. I'm never gonna judge you, and I'm probably gonna tell you what you need to hear, and you probably won't like it at some point. But later on, you'll be like, fuck, I can't believe I was that person. We can't accept love if we don't know how to love ourselves. And we can't give love if you don't know how to love yourself. You can't have boundaries if you don't love yourself, because you're never going to respect yourself. So don't expect others to respect you. You got to do it first. So I'll see you guys later. I'm going to follow, save, share. I'm gonna jump in later tonight. I'll post the time later or in a bit. We're gonna be talking about boundaries without guilt and how water can crash and still be soft. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you up later when you guys are all nice and ready to go to bed and unwinding and ready for tomorrow, okay? Be safe. Wash your butt.